roll into town. 2 weeks ago, Tennessee won by 10 in Pittsburgh, and today the Steelers get their shot at revenge in Nashville. A classic AFC Central rivalry, and always a battle of black and blue, Nashville style.
Hi, this is Patty Loveless tuning in to CBS. Welcome to Nashville. Now let's play some football.
Welcome to Nashville, sold out Vanderbilt Stadium. Steelers in town to play Tennessee. And hi everyone, I'm Craig Bowler-Jack along with John Dockery. Doc, two physical teams, and both these teams chasing after Jacksonville.
Physical and then some. This is an old-fashioned backyard brawl. Two bruising running backs in Jerome Bettis and Eddie George. Two rock-solid defenses, two young quarterbacks who like to run. This game, folks, is not about, it's about attitude, it's about toughness, it's not about finesse. If you want finesse, go elsewhere.
And Doc, 2 weeks ago, Tennessee took care of Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh. The Steelers say, though, that really wasn't the Steelers.
Steelers were embarrassed in Three Rivers. Doesn't happen very often. They called it a fluke, to which Tennessee responded, we'll find out if it's a fluke. They also said the Pittsburgh mystique is gone, and there's a new sheriff in town.
All right, stay tuned. AFC Central battle. It matches Pittsburgh and Tennessee. Coming up next. Welcome back to Vanderbilt Stadium. Pittsburgh and Tennessee, a key matchup in the AFC Central. Head coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers in his 7th season is Bill Cowher. 75 and 41 overall. And on the other side of the ball is Jeff Fisher. Two of the youngest coaches, Doc, in the National Football League. Fisher, 40 years young, while Cowher checks in at 41.
And for Fisher, this could be a turning point in his coaching career, a turning point in the franchise if they can beat Pittsburgh today.
Tennessee won the toss, and they chose to receive to start this game. Matt George, who was signed on a couple of days ago for the injured Norm Johnson, is kicking away for Pittsburgh. And back to receive, Mike Archie at the 2. Archie breaks at the 30, 35, into the 37. So Tennessee will open with fine field position. 35-yard return as you look at Steve McNair. We know he has a good set of legs, also though a very dangerous arm. That Steeler older offense up front is Sanderson, Matthews, Stepnoski, Lehman, and Runyon. Backs and receivers, Eddie George. Watch out, Willie Davis, Kevin Dyson, and two tight ends, Wycheck and Jackie Harris. Wycheck, the motion man. McNair, play action, going up top, picked off. Flowers, the strong safety. Flowers still on his feet and taken down at the 36.
Interesting that the Oilers start off knowing the Steelers are thinking run all the way with Eddie George. They fake and they try to go to Kevin Dyson, the speedster out of Utah, the #1 pick. They try to go to him deep downtown. A very poorly thrown ball. Lee Flowers with the interception. A terrible throw and a big mistake early for McNair.
First pick of the season by Flowers, and Doc, McNair has been so hot. He had gone 9 consecutive quarters without throwing an interception, and he starts this day off with, as you mentioned, a poorly thrown football. Cordell Stewart, the quarterback of the Steelers, he's been criticized somewhat, but trying to regroup. He'll throw on first down, hooks up Charles Johnson to the near sideline and is tackled out of bounds at the 47-yard line. We set up that Steeler offense. And up front, it will be Wolford, Benikas, Dawson, Stye, and Stevens. Cordell Stewart is surrounded by talent. The bus, Jerome Bettis, Tim Lester, Hawkins, Johnson, and the tight end is Mark Bruner. .13-yard pass completion. Steelers First and 10 at their own 48. Stewart, second throw, this time the far sideline, and it's just pitch and catch right now, Doc. Courtney Hawkins, who had 14 receptions against these Tennessee Oilers 2 weeks ago, pulls down another.
It's interesting, both coaches, Bill Cowher, Jeff Fisher, trying to go against stereotype. Everybody expecting the run. But what do the Oilers do with McNair? They have a little fake to Eddie George. He had such a great game in that first week. And then McNair just overthrows this ball, looking for Dyson. He should have never thrown. He should have pulled it down or else thrown it away.
Well, Steelers trying to cash in on the miscue. Second down and short. And up through the middle. Marcus Robertson makes the tackle on Bettis. Defensively for Tennessee up front, it's Anthony Cook with Walker, Evans, and Holmes. The linebackers, Lonnie Martz, Bowden, who moved from outside to middle, and then Eddie Robinson. And the DBs are Walker, Lewis, Bishop, and Marcus Robertson. First and 10, Pittsburgh at the 37-yard line. Stewart rolling to his left, trying to thread the needle, and hooks up inside the 30 to the 29-yard line. Blame Bishop on coverage, but he goes to his tight end, Bruner.
Bruner actually slipped before he made his break. Cordell Stewart showed a lot of poise. He stayed in there and made the throw. He had to wait because his tight end slipped, and then Bruner makes a terrific catch. Ball thrown on the outside. Good catch. Stewart just hung in there.
Cordell Stewart, Doc, 3 of 3 to start this first drive for 30 yards. And off the bust. Bettis off the left side. And he is knocked down in a hurry by Anthony Cook, the left end, who gets the start today for Pratt Lions.
Interesting that Bill Cowher trying to get his quarterback, who has had an up and down year, trying to get him some confidence early, get him 3 early completions, and then come with the bus and get back into the game plan.
Well, the injured Oiler is the right defensive tackle, Josh Evans. 6'2", 288-pounder. He's known for his bull rush style, and he's down early.
Josh Evans, a terrific story, a guy who was an undrafted free agent and moved all the way up to be a starter.
Sports fans, the Vanderbilt men's basketball season is underway. It's not too late to reserve your seat.
Evans being looked at. Also, the chains are out. Marking that football just looks to be inches short.
Just a little bit short. Interesting how both coaches start this game. They get a little cute. Jeff Fisher said, everybody thinks it's going to be Eddie George. Let me give a little fake and try to go to my speedster, my rookie Dyson downtown. Instead, McNair, a terrible choice, overthrows, and they come up with an interception. Steelers on the move now. And Bill Cowher the same way. Get a little confidence from my quarterback. Let him get some completions.
Well, he throws his first 2 or first 3 complete. Now they go ground game with Bettis for 1. And now a timeout is called as they continue to look over Josh Evans.
It's interesting, the last 2 weeks, Bill Cowher threw the ball in the first play to get him some confidence.
We'll be back. 12:09 left in the first quarter. Huck off under his own power, and Henry Ford has taken over at the right defensive tackle spot for Tennessee. Third down short for Pittsburgh. Cordell Stewart, keeper. He picks up a couple of yards inside the 25 to the 24.
You could have put this, I mean, everyone knew this is what was coming. You spread the field out, and then you follow your all-pro center, DeMonte Dawson, up the middle for the first down. That's where having good legs at quarterback and a strong young guy make a difference.
First down for Pittsburgh at the 25. 3 wide receivers. Bettis the lone back. Cordell Stewart, far side, hooks up. Nice grab by Charles Johnson, but only 2 yards on the game. Johnson had to really reach out. Darrell Lewis, the right corner, on coverage. Cordell Stewart, Doc, this season winning games, 85% completion. He struggles, of course. You lose at 47, but he had some problems. He threw those 6 interceptions. 3 of those came 2 weeks ago against Tennessee at home.
And that's when he was yanked by Bill Cowher and Mike Tomczak winning the game.
8th play of this drive. I formation for Pittsburgh. 2nd down, call it 8. Bettis is just knocked down. He blew a tire on that play. Great hit by 55, Eddie Robinson.
Eddie Robinson has brought stability to this Oiler defense. They picked him up before the first game. He started in that first game. Here he just gets a great read, ducks underneath Lester's block, and makes the tackle on the bus.
Now Robinson's a great story. You know, he played for the Oilers originally for 3 seasons and then went with Jacksonville and then found his way back home, as he said, a week before the opener.
A lot of people were shocked that they let Eddie Robinson go before the season. Jacksonville.
3rd down, 9. Shotgun, Cordell Stewart, 4 wide receivers. Down to the backfield is Hawkins at the 15. It will be close to a 1st down. Courtney Hawkins. And again, Bill Cowher trying to show some different sets against Tennessee. Lines up 3 to the near side.
And he does. And Courtney Hawkins is a good possession receiver. Bill Cowher knows that. And he's on a safety, Steve Jackson. So all he does is go from the slot, breaks to the outside. Stewart showing a lot of comfort today and confidence. And that's what Bill Cowher talked about last night. He talked about Cordell Stewart being in a place that he liked. He wasn't criticizing Stewart. He says, hey, he's doing well. He's reading better. I just don't want him to make mistakes out there.
As they bring the chains across the field, Donkey brought up an interesting point. He was benched 2 weeks ago. And just short of the 1st down. He was benched 2 weeks ago. Tomczak came in, and then, of course, all the TV radio stations around Pittsburgh jump on the horn. They have a poll, and basically all 3 polls said, give us Tomczak.
You know what? And I talking to Cordell Stewart last night, we said, what about the polls? What did you feel? He said, I was insulted. I was hurt by those polls. I'm the quarterback here. I can get the job done. Sure, the bar is raised after going to the AFC Championship game last year. Awesome in the red zone, Steelers.
13 touchdowns, 8 field goals right now. Cordell Stewart looking at 4th and inches. Tries to jump the pile and is stuffed. And Tennessee holds on 4th and short. Kenny Holmes led the charge, who's been criticized of late because of his lack of ability to get inside from his right end position, but he got in that time.
He certainly did, and this time he tried to go to the well again. Remember, just a few plays ago, Cordell Stewart, quarterback sneak for the 1st down. Here he doesn't get it. Great surge by the Oiler defensive line.
5 Doc on that drive for 40 yards. However, Tennessee's defense stopped him short on 4th down, and now McNair gets a 2nd chance. The turnover did not hurt Tennessee. But the Steelers defense has something to say, and they knock Eddie George back for a couple of yard loss. Kevin Henry led the way. Rowe, Steed, and Henry will start up front for Pittsburgh. Linebackers Gilden, Kirkland, Holmes, and Emons. And the defensive backs, Carnell Lake, Washington, Lee Flowers, and Perry. 2nd down, 11. McNair has time to throw. The big fella can run, and smartly Doc trots out of bounds at the 20-yard line.
Can't get away from Jason Gilden, great speed at linebacker, but you may be wondering why the Steelers didn't kick a field goal before when they had 4th and 1. That's because their kicker, Norm Johnson, is hurt, and they have a new kicker, Matt George, in there. But here, all the time in the world, as the Steelers are playing zone defense, good coverage, and then McNair outside, a lot of times he'll outrun a linebacker, not that time with Gilden, too fast.
3rd down, 5 for Steve McNair and his Tennessee Oilers. 3 wide receiver set. McNair feels the pressure. Down he goes at the 15. And it was Gilden, the outside linebacker. His 7th sack, Doc, of the season.
These 2 teams play defense. I mean, the Steelers, how long have they been playing defense? For 3 decades. This time, Gilden just avoids the blocker, comes in and makes a sure tackle on McNair.
Courtney Hawkins back to receive the punt for Pittsburgh. And one of the finest punters in the National Football League, Craig Hendrick, boots it away. It's a rocket. At the 26 is Hawkins. Hawkins at the 45. And tackled by Kevin Long. Picks up a special teams tackle, 58-yard kick, and an 18-yard return. Scoreless in Nashville. The NFL comes alive on CBS Sportsline. Log on to the Players Chat Thursday night, 9 Eastern, and chat live with the Jaguars quarterback Mark Brunell at cbs.sportsline.com on the web and AOL.
That's a new kicker for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Matt George, his first pro start. He's a guy that was cut in preseason. He actually kicked 2 field goals, but you have to wonder how much confidence Bill Cowher in him. He had a 33-yard possibility, and he didn't have George kick it.
Steelers back on the offense. Cordell Stewart trying to find the seam, and he does inside the 25 down to the 20-yard line. You couldn't throw a better football. Courtney Hawkins already, Doc, with his 3rd catch here in the first quarter.
And what Cordell Stewart did here was throw the ball with velocity on the line so that the safety, Robinson, didn't have time to get over there. Plus, he had plenty of protection.
36-yard hookup, Cordell Stewart to Courtney Hawkins. That brings up a first down. Pittsburgh at the 20. Bettis off the left side, picks up 3. Let's go back to our New York studios. Jim Nantz with an NFL Today update. Jimmy?
All right, thank you, my man. Miami on the opening drive goes 92 yards, and Abdul-Jabbar got 56 on the ground, and he pokes it across for the touchdown. Carolina has just kicked the field goal, and so it's now 7-3 as we speak. Back to you, Craig.
All right, thanks, Jim. 2nd down, 7. Pittsburgh knocking on the door. I formation, Bettis up the middle, nothing. Maybe a yard down to the 15, 16-yard line. But, Doc, we talk about Tennessee. They're able to put 8 men in the box. They really want to try to control the lanes today, so Bettis cannot run freely.
And, you know, they play a lot of that 46 defense, named after Gary Fensick from Chicago in the 80s. But they'll bring Blaine Bishop up. They'll bring Marcus Robinson up. They'll play 8, and sometimes they'll play 9 and just leave the cornerbacks out there all by themselves.
Again, 3 wide receivers to the near side. Hawkins, the motion man. Cordell Stewart from the shotgun, pumps, and down he goes. Nearly escaped the pressure of Tennessee. But Stewart dropped for a 2-yard loss back at the 18, and Gary Walker led the charge.
And what Bill Cowher wants is Cordell Stewart, if he can't find a receiver, can't find anybody, yeah, try to run. He almost does, not throw an interception. And the question is here, will they go with the kicker? Here he is, you know, Matt George, the rookie out of Chapman College in California. His first NFL regular season kick.
This will be a 36-yard attempt. Tom Zach, the holder, the kick, no. Blocked, it looked like at the line of scrimmage. For the 2nd time, Tennessee dodges the bullet. First, it was a fine defensive stand on 4th down. This time, they get a hand up on the football. Craig Bullerjack, John Dockery back in Nashville. And the Oilers go to Eddie George on 1st down, hugs the sidelines, steps out at the 28.
Moments ago, the Oiler defense held, and if you look on the right-hand side, right there, you'll see Kenny Holmes right there, leap at the right time and get a hand on Matt George's field goal. Holmes 6'5", you know, really athletic, a #1 pick out of Miami. Perfect timing to block that field goal.
Well, so far, Holmes has been the defensive stopper for Tennessee. He was a big playmaker on that 4th down and inches call, and now he comes back and with the blocked field goal. 2nd down, 8 after the 2-yard gain by George, and Eddie George again, big hole up the right side. He is just pounding away down the sideline and finally chased out at the 49. Eddie George Let's go back to New York. Jim Nantz with an NFL Today update.
All right, Craig, how about Randall Cunningham getting the start today, even though he had that surgery on his knee earlier in the week, and he runs it in for a touchdown. The Vikings strike first against the Bengals, and let's head back to you.
Now Minnesota, Doc, with that early lead, and here Pittsburgh and Tennessee doing a little dueling defenses. 4 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Double tight set. Jackie Harris, Frank Wycheck for Tennessee. Play action. McNair on the rollout. Throws wide open. Wide open. Jackie Harris, the tight end. Played 4 years at Green Bay, 4 years at Tampa Bay, and now has found a home in Tennessee.
Everything comes off the run game. The Oilers having some success with Eddie George running the ball. This is just a play-action fake. Take a look at it right here. A little play-action fake to Eddie George. Comes out against the grain and finds Jackie Harris in the hole in the Pittsburgh zone.
Tight ends play a major role, Doc, in this Tennessee offense with Harris and Wycheck. Back to the grounds. George was stopped by Joel Steed, and it shows you the power that Eddie George possesses. And at 6'3", 240, many believe the tallest and maybe the strongest running back in the National Football League.
And you know he's strong when you look at Joel Steed, the Pro Bowl nose tackle, 6'2", 310 pounds. Eddie George just bounced off him and picked up an extra 3 or 4 yards.
Eddie George coming off a 134-yard, 1-touchdown game a week ago against Tampa Bay. Second down, 8 from the Pittsburgh 29-yard line. George again, the call, stacked up. Earl Holmes got him down low, and that's one way, John, to really get Eddie George down. You got to knock those legs down.
And Earl Holmes did not have a great game the first time, but if you watch him here, number 50, he'll get penetration right left-hand side of your screen, and that's what they have to do. From the triangle, Joel Steed in the middle, Levon Kirkland, and the other inside linebacker, Earl Holmes, have to get some penetration to meet Eddie George. The line of scrimmage, the first game, the line of scrimmage was controlled by Tennessee, both lines of scrimmage.
3 wide receivers set, the lone back, Eddie George. Third down, 8. McNair swings it out in the backfield. Eddie George stumbles at his own 30, and Docky had a lot of running room near that near sideline. Dwayne Washington, the strong corner, came up, but Eddie George saw daylight.
It would have been an interesting collision. Smart, high percentage pass from Steve McNair. Just flip it out to your running back. You know he's a terrific runner in the open field. See if he can make some yardage and pick up the first down. Instead he trips, so it's 4th down, and we'll see Del Greco.
His longest of the year from 48. This will be from 46. Del Greco, a 15-year veteran. Boy, tale of 2 different kickers, huh? Del Greco, the kick is up. Good from 46. Was that just me or slow motion? A 46-yarder. Tennessee by 3. 46 yards. And Doc, Del Greco now 70 straight games he scored. Hendrick, the kick for Tennessee. At the 4-yard line is Richard Huntley. Huntley breaks it up. Good return to the 26, maybe the 27-yard line. 22-yard return. Tomorrow on CBS, it's Shameless Crossover Monday. The stars of CBS Monday show up on each other's shows, beginning with Cosby, followed by The King of Queens, and Monday's #1 comedy, Everybody Loves Raymond. Then Ted Danson stars in Monday's newest hit, Becker, followed by an all-new LA Doctors tomorrow, right here on CBS.
Interesting you should talk about kickers. Del Greco with his 70th straight game with a score. And on the other side, Norm Johnson hurt. All the things the Steelers went through this week trying to find a kicker. And Matt George, the new kicker, just signed 2 days ago, gets his first kick blocked.
Pittsburgh with the football at the 26. Cordell Stewart hits on the slant. Will Blackwell. Tackled by Denard Walker.
Stewart's pass complete to number 89, Will Blackwell.
One of the things that Bill Cowell and the Steelers talk about in that first game, the Oilers got them out of their game plan 2 weeks ago. Their game plan includes running the bus 20-25 times. Interesting, in this game, Stewart is throwing the ball more than we thought he would, obviously because the Oilers are an 8- and 9-man fronts.
Cordell Stewart, 7 of 7 for 83 yards on the day. Pitch play. Bettis wants to throw. A collision.
Got to be interference.
Flags. Walker was involved on that collision, but the bus ran to the near sideline, and Doc pulled up, threw a pass. It was floater, but there was a collision.
Pass interference.
And Walker doesn't look back. That's why it's interference. You can't just run into, you know, Charlie Johnson was the guy. Watch the bus. You knew there was something wrong here just by the way he was running. Doesn't throw a great pass, kind of a wobbler, but it's enough to get the pass interference because Walker bought on the run. Look at the bus throwing the ball. I wouldn't say that's one of his strengths, but it's effective. They get a first down on the penalty.
You tell him that, I won't. Look at Denard Walker, third-round pick out of LSU back in '97.
He just bought on the fake. I mean, as a defensive back, you got to read your keys. If he read the offensive line, he would have seen them pass blocking. All he did was look in the backfield and see the bus. So he bit, and by the time he figured out it was a pass, it was too late to recover, thus the interference call.
Bill Cowher calling timeout for Pittsburgh. Well, coming up on the NASDAQ Amex halftime report, join Jimmy Nantz, Marcus Allen, Brent Jones, and the coach George Seifert for all the scores and highlights, plus a preview of the final round of the Franklin-Templeton Sharks shootout. By the way, it's a scramble format. I like that. That's all coming up on the NASDAQ Amex halftime report.
Interesting day in pro football, especially here when you look at the AFC Central Division. You know, obviously these teams 6-3, the Steelers come in here, so they're battling for first place. Jacksonville is 7-2 with a tough game later on in the day against Tampa Bay. And Bill Cowher has been incredibly successful with the Steelers over his 7 years.
Now, how about 6 straight playoff trips in his first 6 seasons? He joins a very small fraternity, Paul Brown, as the only coach other than Cowher to go 6 playoffs in his first 6 seasons as a head coach. That's remarkable company.
Remarkable company in an organization that has been successful for decades, and that really has to do with the people at the top. The Rooney family. Art Rooney started it all. Dan Rooney continues it. And Chuck Noll for 2 decades successful. Fisher's trying to get that kind of a feel here. He doesn't have it yet. The Oilers have never been to the Super Bowl. They've had their problems. He's hoping to turn the corner today.
Well, he ripped the headset off as Pittsburgh starts up now with a 1st and 10 after the interference call at the 38. Bettis with some blockers, but it breaks down. Good pursuit by the guys in white. Kenny Holmes having a ball game.
And they need Kenny Holmes. This defensive front is not an awesome front. They don't have one particular star. But Kenny Holmes, if they're going to have a star, it's Kenny Holmes, the #1 pick out of Miami 2 years ago. He's a guy that has a burst. He can get upfield and make plays the way he did there.
Well, that's the end of the first quarter with Tennessee leading by 3. We'll return to Vanderbilt Stadium after this message. Out, Doc, explaining to Coach Jeff Fisher and also Bill Cowher that there was not a timeout charge to Pittsburgh, and Fisher was not happy. The headset came off, but now there's a little calming effect. But Johnny Greer has it all figured out. Both teams still with 3 timeouts here in the first half. 2 wide receivers to the near side. 2nd down, 13. Bettis center of the backfield. Oh, he jumps over a tackler inside the 40 down to the 37. You got to be kidding. Bettis at 250 does the hurdle act.
Bettis is so nifty at 250, and you talk to him and he just loves football. He loves the game. He loves the fans. He's just excited about it. Watch him here. It's just a little screen to the left, and Bettis tries to get outside and hurdles himself, but from the inside, great pursuit by the Oilers.
Boy, Bettis continues to amaze. He's taking a rest with 4 wide receivers. The fake, and in down the sideline. Cordell Stewart, did he make it? It's going to be short. Cordell Stewart. Oh, they mark him at the 25. First down, Pittsburgh.
And it looks like Lonnie Martz had a clear shot on him. Now Martz is a pretty good linebacker. Watch him here. He throws that little fake to try to get the linebackers off. And you see right there, runs right by a good linebacker, tiptoes down the sidelines. And a quarterback with legs can make things happen and depress a defense.
3 carries for 16 yards. That was a 12-yard gain and a first down. Pittsburgh at the 25 of Tennessee. Cordell Stewart in traffic, incomplete. Tough throw, and it would have been even a tougher catch for the tight end, Mark Bruner.
Stewart looks comfortable. Watch him set. Look downfield, throw. The coverage was spectacular. This is Bruner coming off. Watch Lewis, 29, perfect coverage from the outside, comes through. That right hand gets it across and knocks the ball away.
First incompletion by Cordell Stewart. Now 8 of 9 for 87 yards. And Bruner nearly pulled that down in some heavy traffic. Bruner in motion. Second down 10. Stewart again wants to throw. Hooks up near side, has his man. That's Will Blackwell inside the 20 down to the 16-yard line. Darrell Lewis made the stop, got some help from Lonnie Martz.
And you know why that play was successful? It's simple. They came with the safety blitz. Blaine Bishop was coming off the corner, but Tim Lester and Huntley picked it up, and that's the reason that he was able to get that pass off so easily. The blitz was on. Great blocking by the Steelers.
Well, Doc, here we go again. Tennessee's been so tough on third down against Pittsburgh, and they're knocking on the door once again. Hawkins in motion. Reverse. Hawkins first down to the 11. Anthony Cook made the stop. So they send Hawkins in motion, then bring him back the other way.
A little creativity by the Pittsburgh Steeler offense. Just a little misdirection, reverse. See Hawkins in motion, comes back across the green. The Oilers, meantime, are moving to the left side. By the time they get back, it's first down Hawkins. It's interesting, the bus is actually out of the game at the moment.
Right now, Huntley and Lester line up in the Pittsburgh backfield. Play action. Cordell Stewart going for 6. Touchdown to the tight end, Bruner.
You know, the Pittsburgh Steelers don't go to their tight end, Mark Bruner, that often. He's a huge target, and this time he uses his body, 6'4", 261. He's against Blaine Bishop, only 5'9", 200 pounds. Uses that body, and they said he had possession over the goal line. And now the officials are getting together to see if he actually had possession of that ball or whether he was juggling it and came down. And this is a big play.
Doctor, I like the fact that the officials separate from the two teams and they have a discussion.
We have a
to really
touchdown on the
clarify.
play.
Now they come back and say touchdown. Johnny Greer with the signal. So Bruner with his first touchdown catch of the year.
Take another look at it and see if he does it. See, he pushes off. Bishop is almost smothered by him. He can't get around. Has possession of the ball, pulls it in, and then as he hits the ground, it pops out. And that's what the officials saw. Touchdown, Pittsburgh Steelers.
Matt George will try the point after. Good hold by Tom Zach, and the kick is up and true. So you hear some boos coming from this sold-out crowd. And Jeff Fisher not in agreement. Pittsburgh 7-3. Coaches in the National Football League has to be happy. Cordell Stewart puts together an 8-play drive, 74 yards, 3:39 off the clock. Doc, and Bruner with his first touchdown catch. Controversial, but it's a 10-yard touchdown, and Pittsburgh on top 7-3. Matt George, rookie kicker, and a good foot. Archie at the 5. Archie at the 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Archie knocked out of bounds near the 45-yard line, but I see a flag back down around the 31. And George, the rookie who signed 2 days ago, had to save the touchdown, but a flag is down on the far side.
And he'll go against the Tennessee Oilers, and Welcome to the NFL, Matt George. All 5'10" of him. He has to make the play to save a touchdown. Watch him come from the right side of your screen, get some pretty good leverage, and then just knocks him out of bounds. A good play by the young kicker.
Well, so far today, missed the field goal, blocked. He got the extra point, and he's in on a tackle on a near touchdown, but it was taken back because of the hold.
And this is the guy that a few days ago was at home with his buddies talking about, hey, I can play in the NFL. And then he gets a call in the middle of the week, goes there on Thursday, signs on Friday, kicks a few on Saturday, and bingo, here he is on Sunday in a huge game.
Tennessee will start this drive on their own 21. Here comes Eddie George, and there was a hole, but it closed up in a hurry. Good job by the outside backer, Carlos Emmons. Well, Monday on CBS, is Raymond a prisoner in his own marriage? Find out as King of Queens Kevin James drops in on Everybody Loves Raymond. It's all part of Shameless Crossover Monday, right here on CBS. Steve McNair looking at 2nd down 7. George again, the ball carrier, and boy, Eddie George running into a wall of black and gold. Levon Kirkland, 6'1". Doc, how about 270?
He is a huge linebacker, and that's where the Steelers have to make it happen in that triangle. They have Steed in the middle, and behind them at the inside linebackers are Earl Holmes and Levon Kirkland. What the size of him, 6'1", 270. I asked him last night, how come nobody ever made you a defensive lineman? He said, heck, I've always played linebacker. I like linebacker, and heck, I'm talented.
2nd round pick back in '92 from Clemson. 3rd down 8, McNair shotgun. Over the middle, and he hooks up with the rookie from Utah, Kevin Dyson.
You know, Les Steckel, the offensive coordinator of Tennessee, talking to him yesterday, was saying, you know, Dyson, he's a young guy. He's not afraid to come across the middle and make the catch. That time he came across the middle in a rookie mistake. He was a little too shallow on 3rd down. If he had been a couple of yards deeper, that would have been a 1st down, and the Oilers would have kept their drive going.
And Doc, important news given to us from the sideline. Jerome Bettis injured his knee, and he is questionable if he'll return in this game or not. Left knee.
Wow.
Hawkins back to receive the kick from Hendrick. Hawkins at the 15, thrown back. Had the hand up. And flags are down. 54-yard kick by Craig Hendrick.
Anthony Dorsett was so intent that he didn't see Hawkins with the fair catch and ran right into him. Obviously a penalty.
Number 23 of the kicking team. 1st down.
And Dorsett, the best special teams player on the Oilers last week. He downed that play at the 1-yard line against Tampa Bay, and then they got a touchdown right after that. Clearly a fair catch call. Dorsett not looking, pounds into Hawkins. Penalty Oilers. We'll be back at 7-3.
Back in Nashville, Pittsburgh with a 7-3 lead and the football.
And without the bus.
From the eye, Cordell Stewart sets up, fires complete. Out of the backfield, it's Timmy Lester, and he is taken out down near the 40-yard line. Doc, you talked about the bus. Let's take you back to that pass play. And Jerome Bettis, this is something the bus is not used to doing. He opens himself up, and you see right there, helmet on knee. And Jerome has left the field, injured left knee.
And he's doing something that he's not used to doing, and he leaves the ground and makes himself vulnerable. And it looked like Gary Walker hit him right on the knee, as you mentioned.
Handoff, Huntley, crowded up the middle, cuts outside. Fumble! Picked up by Tennessee! Perry Phoenix. He backs up Blaine Bishop at the strong safety, who's out with a banged-up left knee, and Phoenix comes up with the fumble. Darrell Lewis made the initial hit.
And we were talking about Jerome Bettis out of the game, a huge loss. with that bruised knee for the Steelers. So Richard Hundley, second-year player, makes a good run here, but watch at the end. The ball just is punched loose, and then Perry Phoenix comes up with the recovery. A huge, huge break for the Oilers.
Perry Phoenix, a rookie out of Southern Mississippi, signed as a free agent. Tennessee down 7-3 at the Steelers' 39-yard line. McNair, good protection, throws far sideline, incomplete. Now a flag from way back. Let's go to New York City. Jim Nantz with an NFL Today update. Jimmy?
All right, Bowler, check it out. Vinny Testaverde facing 2nd and 29 here, and he finds Wayne Krebet in a seam in the secondary of the Colts. And Krebet, 63 yards, a career long, and the Jets have tied it in the second quarter. Back to you.
Well, Johnny Greer with the call.
I think he was talking about Carnell Lake playing the left cornerback position. Was a game time decision because of that bruised, high ankle bruise on his ankle, but he was called for that holding.
Double tight end set. Jackie Harris, Frank Wycheck. Wycheck in motion. 9:24 remaining, first half. McNair throws far sideline, and he hooks up with Willie Davis. And guess who's out of the locker room? Hat's on his head, but at least Jerome Bettis is walking after taking that helmet to the knee on that pass play.
He is walking around. He's talking to Huntley, trying to give him some encouragement. But when you lose a running back like Jerome Bettis, it's just a one-dimensional offense, the Steeler offense. So it puts so much pressure on Cordell Stewart if Bettis can't return.
Knees seem to be a problem. Blaine Bishop with a sprained left knee. He is questionable. Eddie George, 4 yards have been tough to come by. He'll be close to the first down. You see Bishop, he was out, and that's when Perry Phoenix happened to be in the right place, right time to pick up that fumble.
Blaine Bishop, Greg Williams, the defensive coordinator of Tennessee, said Blaine Bishop has a chip on his shoulder. He's an incredible overachiever. Drafted in the last round, small, too slow. Everyone's been telling him all his life, you can't make it in the NFL. Well, Greg Williams calls him my all-time favorite player.
Doc, how many 8th-round picks make it in the National Football League? They stretched the chains a little bit short. But 8th round, 93, played at Ball State, Blaine Bishop. It's a great story. It just tells you, folks, it doesn't really matter the round. It's the heart.
It's the heart. And Greg Williams said, hey, I was angry when they drafted this guy. He came into camp. He couldn't backpedal. He looked like he'd never make it. But, boy, he has been a force in their defense, especially stuffing the run. And now he's out on the sideline. So Perry Phoenix, the rookie, in at strong safety.
3rd down inches for Tennessee. McNair takes it off the left side. First down. And it's tough not to get yards behind Bruce Matthews. Been in this league a long time, making his 175th consecutive start as Bruce Matthews. And Doc, that goes back to November of '87.
Wow, he's been around forever.
Coming up on the NASDAQ Amex halftime report. Make sure you stick around. Jim Nantz, Marcus Allen, Brent Jones, George Seifert. They'll have all the scores and highlights, plus a preview of the final round of the Franklin Templeton Shark Shootout. It's all coming up on the NASDAQ Amex halftime report. Eddie George in a swarm of jerseys wearing black and gold. Maybe a yard, depends on the spot at the 23. Oliver Gibson, the nose tackle. But they are really making the read on Eddie George.
They are. And, you know, it's interesting to watch this Oiler offense. In the past, they've been running a lot to the left behind Bruce Matthews. And, of course, Brad Hopkins, their outstanding left tackle, is out. So second-year player Scott Sanderson gets his first down. And Matthews has to help Sanderson on that side.
2nd down, 10. Ball on the 23. 4 wide receiver set. McNair, Eddie George flags. And Eddie George nowhere. Absolutely nowhere to roam. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 6 Pittsburgh Steelers led by Nolan Harrison.
And, you know, we've been talking about Bruce Matthews, a guy that's been around for some 16 years. It's against Tennessee, the call. And if you don't believe in genetics, think about his brother Clay, who was around for 19 years with Cleveland and Atlanta. And it's funny that, you know, Bruce Matthews' kids say, hey, come on. You can hang around 3 more years to beat Uncle Clay.
Offense. It's decline. 3rd down.
And Matthews is playing at a high level.
You know, it's amazing, too. Matthews, Doc, he's blocked for 13 different quarterbacks during that long career, 24 different running backs.
Give me the trend.
It's amazing at 37 years old that he's able to play on this level. He's playing as well as he's ever played. That's what the Oilers say.
And he's got to help the kid, as you mentioned, 73, a 3rd-round pick out of Washington State back in '97.
You know, Scott Sanderson is a guy that's getting his first start in the NFL because Hopkins is out. And Sanderson's roommate in college is actually sitting on the bench this week while he's starting. His roommate, of course, being Ryan Leaf at Washington State. What problems he's had.
Oh, boy. Needs some time to think, doesn't he? 3rd down, 12. Oilers 1 of 4 on the day in the 3rd down department. Eddie George, the lone back. McNair pedals back, throws, got a man. Touchdown! Oh, what a catch! Willie Davis.
The Pittsburgh Steelers are in an all-out blitz, folks. That leaves Carnell Lake one-on-one on Willie Davis. The play is to the outside. Carnell Lake is actually thinking that he's going to get some help from Darren Perry. Perry is late getting there. The Oilers picked up the blitz. Beautiful throw by McNair.
3rd touchdown of the year. 33rd career touchdown for Willie Davis. Del Greco.
Gone.
It's automatic. And the sellout crowd on their feet. Willie Davis from 25 yards. McNair, he likes it. Craig on the sideline, throwing his 11th touchdown to Davis. Doc, they went 6 plays, 39 yards, 25-yard catch by that man.
And Davis, a nice route, but a poor coverage by the Steelers, and maybe we'll get a chance to look at it after this kick.
Hendrick with the kick, and this one not returned. His legs so strong, nearly half the kickoffs are not returned. We'll come back to Nashville, Tennessee by 3.
Watch this play here. This is Willie Davis. Now actually Kevin Dyson, he comes down inside. And this is Dwayne Washington. He follows him and then realizes that Davis is running up there. And it's too late. He's expecting help from the safety over here, Darren Perry, but he gets there too late. Touchdown, 25 yards, Willie Davis.
Jerome Bettis has returned after taking that helmet on the knee. They test him early, and the bus is running down to the 24-yard line, a pickup of 4, and he was knocked down by the left tackle, Gary Walker. So Steeler fans, you can breathe again. Bettis is back, and looks like that left knee is fine.
They pumped up one of those flat tires, and he looks okay. And boy, do they need it, because, you know, look, this is a relatively one-dimensional offense. Everything comes off the run game.
They took the lug nuts off and put on a spare, right?
Right.
Hawkins in motion. 2nd down, 7. Quick slant. Hawkins has been the man on some big plays, and it's a 1st down. Pittsburgh at the 33. Samari Roll made the tackle, the left corner. 10-yard hook up between Cordell and Courtney Hawkins.
And you have to like Cordell Stewart. He was staring down a safety, Perry Phoenix, on the blitz, right in his face, took his time and delivered the ball for the 1st down.
Stewart, impressive, 12 of 13, and 4 of those have gone out to Courtney Hawkins. 1st and 10, Pittsburgh from the aisle. Stewart over the middle. Oh, what a hit.
What a catch.
At the 47, how do you hang on Charlie Johnson? And what a shot by Robertson, the free safety.
And what a throw. The ball is thrown well. It's thrown high, so you have to have some guts as a receiver. But Charles Johnson goes up, just over the linebacker in front of the safety. Robertson. Johnson holds on. Cordell Stewart is on fire in the passing game.
Charles Johnson, 5th year out of Colorado, 20-yard pickup. Johnson in motion, first down, play action. Cordell Stewart with a weak to throw. Good coverage downfield. Stewart may run. And down the sideline he goes, steps out at the 30. And again, it shows you the dimension that he brings to the position at quarterback.
And Bill Cowher will tell you that I don't want to stifle a guy with so much instinctive ability to run. What I want him to do is make good decisions. Stewart makes a good decision. He wants the crossing man. He's not open. So what does he do? He uses that special talent, his legs, a quick little fake, out of bounds, huge gain, first down.
And Doc, an impressive drive. The last 3 plays, 10, 20, and 17. 4 carries for Cordell, 33 yards.
And Stewart is answering all those critics in Pittsburgh who said Tomczak should be the quarterback.
Stewart over the middle, incomplete. Darrell Lewis actually had a hand on it, the right corner. Number 29 for Tennessee.
Cordell Stewart trying to go down the seam in the zone and get the ball to Courtney Hawkins. And a pretty good play by Lewis. Ball has to be thrown like that, because if it doesn't get there in a hurry, the defensive backs will close on it and come up with an interception. So he threw that ball with the right velocity, just a little bit long.
Lester joins Bettis in the backfield. Second down, 10 from the 30. Bettis. And takes it up near the 25. And a little punch thrown there out in the pile. What do you expect between these two teams?
There is no love lost between the two of them in that game a few weeks ago in Three Rivers Stadium. Oilers got 153 yards from Eddie George. That was an embarrassment for the Steelers. And Bill Cowher, said, hey, that's one of those games, but, we're going to come back.
Well, check out the NFL on America Online, a keyword Team NFL, and on the web at NFL.com. Make sure you log on Tuesday night at 9 Eastern to chat live with Jets quarterback Vinny Testaverde on America Online. From the shotgun, 3rd down and 6. Down around the knees is Chris Fuamatu-Ma'afala. The rookie from Utah.
It's the catch that's impressive here. This ball is thrown low. The rookie has to go down with his hands to catch it. And this is a guy who's 5'11", 252. Take a look on the right-hand side of the screen. Just flips it out there. The rush is on. He goes down and makes the catch. And then Fuamatu-Ma'afala, got it close anyhow, takes it in for the touchdown.
He is loaded with weight, as you mentioned. A big man at 252, but great speed. And the kick is up and good. Matt George connects. And Fuamatu-Ma'afala, the rookie from Utah, with his 3rd rushing touchdown. He scored one on Monday night against Green Bay.
And he did. It's a little relief for the Bettis when you have someone else who can help you out on offense. 26-yard TD reception.
7 plays, 80 yards. Impressive, in Pittsburgh up by 4. Well, Tuesday on CBS, JAG officers fight for justice. This week, one of their own will be accused of a horrible crime. Don't miss the trial of the century. An all-new JAG Tuesday on CBS. Welcome back. Battle AFC Central, Doc. It's Pittsburgh, Tennessee. Yeah, we put you on TV, and there's the man of the hour right now, Chris Fuamatu-Ma'afala. I'd say that's the toughest name in football.
That is a
toughest name in the game. And the rookie from Utah puts Pittsburgh on top 14-10. Mike Archie, Spencer George back to receive the kick from Matt George. Angles it to the corner, taken at the 9 by Archie. Archie to the 27.
Look at how close he was going down the sidelines. Show what good balance for a guy who's 250 plus pounds. Tiptoes down the sideline, stays in bounds for the touchdown.
A lot of folks thought Fuamatu Ma'afala would be a higher draft pick, Doc, but was taken in the 6th round last year. You know, he's dropped about 25 pounds since his junior year at Utah. And if he can stay around 255, he has the speed of a bus.
Are you
they call
telling
him
me
the minibus.
The minibus. Are you telling me he was up around 270?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my.
Had some problems with the ankles and the knees. Steelers with 231 total yards. McNair to the air. And the catch by Dyson, who is another Utah first-round pick. Teammates of Ma'afala, covered by Dwayne Washington.
You love saying that name, don't you? Well, Dyson, we haven't talked much about the Yancey Thigpen factor here. He was the guy that was signed by the Oilers, and obviously the Steelers lost him because he was their best receiver. As you look at DeMonte Dawson, he's the anchor of that offensive line for the Steelers.
Mason and Dyson, the 2 wide receivers. Here comes Eddie George. He's been stifled on the day, but picks up the first down up to the 42. Earl Holmes rode him down.
And you know, we're talking about Kevin Dyson, and he's a guy that the first 2 weeks of the season didn't start. Didn't know really the offense that well. Finally, he's getting into action. He has to be a guy that helps to replace Yancey Thigpen, who was out with a knee injury. And he's got the speed. He was a #1 pick. He can go deep. He is a good receiver.
A legit 4-3 guy, Doc. 2-minute warning in Nashville. Got a good one going. We'll be back. First down, Tennessee in business at the 34. He beat Carnell Lake and Darren Perry.
He was doing business against Carnell Lake. This is a great shot. Watch this. Lake playing the inside position, then loses. He's actually playing a zone. Like he's expecting help from the outside, so he's looking inside, loses sight of Davis. Easy throw, big completion, first down.
Well, McNair now 7 of 8 for 94 yards. He's hit 7 in a row. Looking for 8. Hooks up near sideline. That is the rookie Dyson.
You think they get the sense of working on Carnell Lake? He comes in with an ankle injury, and it was interesting. You talked to Kevin Dyson, and he said, you know, 2 weeks ago, I looked up. I'm a rookie, and I saw Carnell Lake, and I was awestruck. And this is just Lake giving him too much room. And then he said, you know, after I got over that, I said, well, I can play here, and the game is slowing down for me. Earlier in the season, I just couldn't see anything. Everything was a blur, but now it's slowing down, and Kevin Dyson is filling some of the void left by Yancey Thigpen. Of course, Thigpen's injured. They're expecting him back before the season's over.
Yeah, Yancey Thigpen, he's missed 4 straight games with that knee, but it's a good look at Kevin Dyson, a 4-3 guy in the 40. And he will take it over the middle if McNair wants to throw it that way. Well, the NFL comes alive on CBS Sportsline. Log on to the Players Chat Thursday night at 9 Eastern and chat live with the Jaguars quarterback Mark Brunell at cbs.sportsline.com on the web and AOL. A minute 14 left in the half. Second down 2. Eddie George, left side, has a seam. Stacked up, first down, Tennessee at the 20. Jason Gilden made the stop for Pittsburgh.
And it's that offensive line 2 weeks ago just dominated the Steelers, you know, on defense. You get a little feel of that right now.
Hurry up offense, 12 carries, 35 yards for Eddie George. McNair quickly to the sideline. Again, another completion. Derek Mason. And again, they're picking on Carnell Lake along the near side.
And if you watch Carnell Lake closely, you'll see a little hitch in his get-up, a little bit of a limp. Comes in with that high ankle sprain. He hurt it again last week in the win over Green Bay, but he's out there today. He hasn't practiced all week.
Well, coming up next is the final round of the Franklin Templeton Shark Shootout. Greg Norman hosts today's scramble format. That's coming up next after the game on CBS Sports.
Interesting when you say they're picking on a guy who's been all pro, but Lake was a guy who, he's played linebacker in college. He came in here as a Pro Bowl, safety, but now he has to play the corner because Chad Scott, Steelers' #1 pick in '97 out of Maryland, he's out for the year. And so Cornell Lake has to go over on the hot spot at left corner. Tough spot when you're healthy. When you're slightly nicked or injured the way Lake is, it's an almost impossible situation.
Second down 3 from the 13, 3 wide receivers. Mason in motion, McNair to the sideline again. And another completion to Dyson. Well, they are just moving the ball, pitch and catch, near sideline stuff.
Watch this. This time it's Townsend, the rookie out of Alabama. Backpedals pretty good, keeps a cushion, but down here near the goal line, you don't have to keep that much cushion. You got to close it so you can react on the ball. That's a give me for the Oilers offense.
First and goal from the 7. 36 seconds left in the first half clock here in Nashville. Steelers showing blitz and pitch. Eddie George at the 5 to the 1. Chris Oldham made the tackle. And now a timeout by Tennessee.
And watch this pull by number 69, the right tackle, John Runyon, 6'7", 320 pounds. He's inside, he gets a block, and that helps Eddie George almost get into the end zone, but just a little short.
Tennessee calls time with 25 ticks left on the second quarter clock. Well, Saturday on CBS, how can you make TV's #1 new drama even better? How about if you add Arsenio Hall? Yeah, Arsenio teams up with Sammo Hung on an all-new episode of Martial Law Saturday on CBS.
Here's the deal. 25 seconds left. The Steelers are ahead 14-10. Oilers knocking at the door. No timeouts left. So, I wouldn't say that Jeff Fisher couldn't run the ball. And in the red zone, they've been awesome. They've been perfect, as you saw in that graphic. I wouldn't say you rule out Eddie George up the middle, powering his way in, but if you don't get it, you got to get up in a hurry and get another play off.
Second down goal from just inside the 1-yard line. Remember, McNair, big man at 6'2", 225. He can go over the top. Whistles.
No. Wow, if you're an Oiler.
Procedure call.
False start prior to the snap. Left tackle.
Is that the young guy, Scott Sanderson, filling in for Brad Hopkins in his first start? And this is a tough situation. They were right on the goal line. And now Jeff Fisher at 2nd and goal. It's still 25 seconds to go, but you have to change the play a little bit now. I would throw the ball. I'd roll out. Steve McNair.
Doc has had a statement. They just took Sanderson out and put Jason Matthews in at the left tackle spot. McNair, keeper. At the 5, at the 3, down back to the 1. He got the 5 yards back.
Got to hurry up. No timeouts. You got to get up and do something in a hurry.
Clock running down. 13, 12, 11. McNair trying to settle his troops. McNair, and then he spikes it with 8 seconds on the clock.
A good call, but now a tough decision. A good call, because they need to gather themselves. If you give it to a runner there and it doesn't get in, the clock will run out. So now you can either take the field goal or go for it.
Well, you have one of the better kickers in football, Al Del Greco. And now Jeff Fisher decides to go with the 3-point attempt.
Interesting. And McNair, so big and strong at 6'2", 225 pounds, almost spins and muscles his way into the end zone, can't get there. He says, look, this is going to be a tight game. I want to get something before I go in. 14-13 will be fine for me.
Del Greco hit from 46 yards out his first time.
And, both these coaches have a philosophy. Run game, keep it close, play defense, win in the fourth quarter. And that's exactly what Jeff Fisher is making the statement here. Keep it close. We'll see who can do it in the second half.
That's Johnny Greer. So the ball will be marked at the 14. This will be a 24-yard attempt by Del Greco. Wind not a factor. Good snap. Kick is up. And it's good from 24.
The score, Pittsburgh 14, Tennessee Oilers 13.
(14-13). Del Greco connects on his second field goal of the day. And John Dockery, good point. I think Jeff Fisher must have been reading your thoughts, because in a close game like this, take it when you can. 4 seconds remain before halftime.
You know, these are teams that go head-to-head. This is a tough, division battle where they don't mess around, either team. Steelers, as you see, 233 yards. Oilers 165. That's some kind of production for the Steelers. What surprises me most about the first half, Cordell Stewart throwing as much as he's been throwing and being as successful as he has been.
Back deep for the Steelers.
Well, Craig Hendrick will kick away for Tennessee. Blackwell and Huntley back to receive for Pittsburgh. And it's rare that you get to return a kick off the foot of Hendrick. Squibs it. Clock will run when it's touched, and down on the turf at the 43. 2 seconds, and there'll be 1 second for Cordell Stewart in Pittsburgh.
Obviously take a knee, get in at the half. 14-13. This is a battle, as we expected, a close game. That game 2 weeks ago in Pittsburgh was an aberration, according to the Steelers. And boy, the Oilers are trying to make a statement here today in this packed house of 41,600 fans.
New stadium is being built not far from here on the other side of Nashville. And they're looking forward to having what they really call their real home.
And they have a new name now for next year, that is, the Titans, Tennessee Titans.
On a knee goes Cordell Stewart. And Jeff Fisher trots off on his home field. And Doc, a hard-fought battle between Fisher and Cower. And Pittsburgh leads with a 14-13 lead.
Nice balanced offense, especially by the Steelers. Again, the bus was out for a while, so they had to go to the air. They did it well. As I said, Stewart has to be the player of the first half, although McNair, except for one bad throw early, played well.
And the fact that they lost the bus for a while, Pittsburgh still leads by a score of 14-13. Steve McNair doing the job, hooking up with Dyson a few times, and then, can I say it one more time? Chris Fuamatu-Ma'afala out of Utah with a nice run to give the Steelers a 1-point lead at the half.
You're the only guy who can say that. Steelers 6-3 coming in. Tennessee 5-4. This is a critical division game.
All right, that ends the first half. The score, Pittsburgh 14-13. Coming up on the NASDAQ halftime report, Jim Nantz, Marcus Allen, Brent Jones, and George Seifert for all the scores and highlights. That's coming up on the NASDAQ halftime report after this message.
154 for the Oilers. It's the passing yards and the quarterbacks that have been doing. Time of possession very even, but you look at Stewart, he's 14 of 16, 171 yards, 2 touchdowns, and McNair 10 of 12 for a touchdown, 115 yards. He did throw a pick, but quarterbacks are throwing the ball well, both of them.
Pittsburgh will have the football to start the third quarter. Blackwell and Arnold back to receive for the Steelers, and another deep kick by Hendrick. Again, Doc, no return.
No return. And Cordell Stewart, I mean, you have to. The bus is, you see, he's got a little bit of a hitch in his Getty up there. The bus got hit in the knee when he attempted a pass earlier in the first half. He was out for a while, but he's back. That put some pressure on Cordell Stewart, and boy, did he respond. And his numbers 14 of 16, I just mentioned. I mean, 107 yards. He's also run the ball. Look at that, 32 yards. The bus only has 13 for a total of 61 in the first half.
I formation to start the third quarter. 14-13 Pittsburgh. Tries the left side. Not much. Bowden, who was an outside backer, who's now back at the middle spot, which is a position, Doc, he loves He's having a great season. He started the game with 86 tackles, averaging 9 stops a game.
And he's a guy talking to me yesterday. I said, what about this game? I mean, it's a big game. He said, yeah, this is like a heavyweight championship fight. It's Holyfield Tyson. That's what it's like.
Lester in motion. Blitz coming. Cordell. Ball is up. Still on the ground.
Interesting. The question there, was his arm going forward? Was it an incomplete pass or a fumble?
A couple of Oilers
take a look.
are still down. Looked like Lonnie March may have been the first to come on that blitz to hit Cordell.
It's hard to see from that angle, but yeah, huge blitz. Tennessee has said they want to disrupt the rhythm of Cordell Stewart. They didn't do it in the first half. Here, beginning the second half, they come with the big blitz. The ball is knocked away, and one of the Oilers is down. Walker, Gary Walker.
Number 96.
Special thanks to the College of Nashville and Doyle Meyer of Old Hickory. This week's winners in the
Looks like Darrell Lewis.
Wow, 2 of the defensive linemen. Pratt Lyons and Gary Walker both down.
We'll take a break. 14-13, Pittsburgh. Field, he was down quite a while. A little glazing over those eyes. And Gary Walker, number 96, was also down, but he's up. That was a fumble. Recovered by Cordell Stewart. So now 3rd down and 15. Stewart from the shotgun. Throws it underneath. Ma'afala hurdles past the 25 up to the 26. Matu Ma'afala, he's making a difference so far in this game. Short though of the first down. That brings in the punting unit. Eddie Robinson chased down.
Ma'afala, boy, went airborne at 255 pounds and just didn't have enough lift on his long jump to get the first down.
Josh Miller in to punt. And Derek Mason back to receive for Tennessee. Miller, the left footer. Good kick. At the 24. Flags come out. Chris Oldham making that special teams tackle. 48-yard kick. -6 on the return, but there's that yellow hanky. Johnny Greer will get it sorted out.
Holding, number 37 of the receiving team doing the run back. First down.
That's Danon Sidney. And they call him for a hold. He pushed him out of bounds, grabs the jersey and the flag. Yeah, I tackled him. Flags come down. Pittsburgh by 1. Eddie George and the Oilers ready for their first offensive series of the second half. 1st and 10. They'll start at their own 10-yard line. Eddie George gets the carry. And not much again. It was tough going, Doc, in the first half. Eddie George, one of the most best conditioned athletes you will see. Rock solid, chiseled at 6'3", 240.
And you know, we talked to him yesterday and he said sometimes he'll ride a bike at halftime just to stay warm, to stay loose. Tends to stiffen up a little bit late in the game, but he also says, you know, I'm a marked man. I've been that way for 2 years. I don't care. I'll be strong in the 4th quarter because I'm so well conditioned.
Well, he's had 5 straight 100-yard games, and today the going is tough. By the other side, nothing doing. Earl Holmes right around the shoe tops. Great stop by the 4th-round pick from Florida A&M.
And watch Earl Holmes right in the middle of your screen. He beats the block in the middle there and gets in and penetrates. It's penetration that makes a difference, and that's right now what the Steelers are doing to the Oilers.
Third down at 10. Frank Wycheck, we haven't heard much from Wycheck in motion. McNair rolls out in trouble, steps up, still looking at the 10, 15, and taken down from behind, and he stretches out near the first down marker.
If he keeps moving like that, Jeff Fisher is going to make Steve McNair a running back. Well, he's almost like another running back in the backfield. He came so close to that first down. Well, he did get the first down. And that was all on individual effort. He had no business in the world making this first down, except he's so strong. 6'2", 225 pounds, sees an opening, tells his lineman, get going, come on, help me out. And watch this surge at the end. Hey, you know, those are guys hitting. Chris Oldham put a good shot on him. He still couldn't stop him from getting the first down.
Well, we talked about Cordell Stewart and what he brings to the table.
Wow.
Look at what McNair can do. Oh, my.
And a huge situation, too. They're backed up in the second half. They're down by 1 point. That was a huge play by McNair.
Two wide receivers to the far side. First and 10. Backsides picked up. Going deep. And just overthrows Dyson, who was a burner. But McNair was pressured. Dwayne Washington, cover man on Dyson. Well, there was some pressure coming up quickly on McNair.
Pittsburgh uses that zone fire blitz, and Dwayne Washington, watch him from the top of your screen. Actually, that's more pressure from everywhere. And he just overthrows this ball. Emons was in there from his linebacker spot. And one of the things that Jeff Fisher was hoping that Steve McNair would this year learn how to throw the deep ball a little bit better. That one just overthrown.
Dyson takes a breather. They hit Wycheck on the slant. And the big fella bangs his way up to the 28. Darren Perry took him down to free safety.
You know, Frank Wycheck is at H-back tight end, 6'3", 250. And he's a guy that's led this Tennessee offense the last 3 years in receptions. A big target, just goes inside, not afraid to make the catch. And you know, Les Steckel tells you, you know, if I were going to pick an MVP on the offense for the last few years, it would be Frank Wycheck.
It's amazing they claimed him off waivers, Doc, back in '95, and then just signed him to a new big 6-year contract. Wycheck again in motion, third down short. Eddie George slicing for the first down. Left of the football. Tennessee has it at the 44. Wycheck followed that rolling pinball around and got it.
Eddie George is a guy that he's more a grinder. He's not Terrell Davis, who will go 60 yards in a shot. He's more a grinder, and he makes the defense pay, especially the backs. Sometimes that can hurt you. There, the ball is just stripped loose. He tries to recover, going for those extra yards, but look who's there, the MVP, Frank Wycheck, to pick up the fumble.
First and 10, ball on the 44-yard line. A couple interesting first downs, Doc. McNair stretching for one, and a little fumble by Eddie George. Wycheck picks it up for another. To the far side is picked up by Willie Davis. 5-6 yards on the play in Washington.
You know, I love guys like Willie Davis. You know, he's been around a while. You know, was in Kansas City, led the interceptions for a few years. They were counting Willie Davis out this year. They said, hey, we got Thigpen. We have Chris Sanders, who is inactive today. We're getting Dyson. Maybe Willie Davis will be expendable. Willie said, I'll have none of that. Had a great preseason and is having a terrific regular season.
Former World League member down in Orlando back in '92. Steelers show blitz. Eddie George tries to go outside. Nothing doing. Well, then outside closed down in a real quick hurry. Flowers, the strong safety. You know what? And his comment this week around Pittsburgh, Doc, was our goal, our only goal defensively, tackle, tackle, tackle Eddie George.
How many tackles? Tackle, tackle, and then tackle. And put a lot of hats. The way you have to do on the bus, you better get more than 1 or 2 people tackling Eddie George. He's going to break tackles the way he did 2 weeks ago when he got 153 yards against the same Steeler defense.
Third down, 2 from the 48. High snap from the shotgun. McNair looking to throw. George had a stretch out, incomplete. And Eddie George, Doc, was not the receiver of choice. That was about third down the list.
One of the things they've wanted to do this year, Tennessee, is to get Eddie George more involved in the pass game. He does everything else. Spectacular ball carrier, carry 25, 30 times a game. You know, they don't ask him to block that much, but as a receiver, he just hasn't done that much. That time the ball was thrown too high. Had it been thrown a little lower, it would have been a sure first down for Tennessee. A little too hard, a little too high.
Hendrick will punt, and back to receive is Hawkins. Oh, it's a fake. Hendrick, little punter keep. Fumble, got it back. But it's not going to be enough for the first down. In fact, they'll lose a yard back at midfield. That is a gutty call by Jeff Fisher, and look at Bill Cowher.
Is it a gutty call, or is it an insane call? Pittsburgh's leading by one. You're down by one. You're Jeff Fisher. Yeah, you have a good punter, and he's done a great job getting the ball inside the 20-yard line. But this time, he throws a little fake, and it's Orpheus Roy who eventually gets over there. He fumbles the ball, and you just have to wonder about that kind of gamble at midfield. Sure, if it works, it's wonderful. But if it doesn't work, you're putting your defense under some stress.
Boy, Cowher was about 15 yards out on the field in motion. That's his middle name. Pittsburgh at midfield with a 1-point lead after the chancy call by Fisher. Stewart throws down to the backfield, hooks up with Lester, the fullback. And Lonnie March chased him down. Lester missed 5 games, had shoulder surgery during the offseason.
And he came into this game with 0 carries and 3 catches. Of course, he's an incredible blocker. He's the man that leads the bus. 5'9", 230 pounds out of Eastern Kentucky. And look at this day that Stewart's having. 15 of 17, 178, 2 touchdowns, and as important, 0 picks.
Had 3 2 weeks ago against this team. A little push, but no flag, incomplete. Charles Johnson, the intended receiver. Walker providing coverage for Tennessee.
You know, that was great coverage by Walker. He just didn't, he kept a real tight cushion. He read the quarterback, saw the 3-step drop, and just closed on Johnson to force that incompletion.
Third down, call it 3. The Steelers today, 4 of 7. In third down conversions, 4 wideouts. They loaded up to the near side with 3. Now Hawkins in motion. Stewart, he had him on the slant. Looked downfield before he made the catch.
It's classic. The ball was beautifully thrown with a proper velocity on the slant to Hawkins. And if you watch this, watch Hawkins' head. As the ball is about to catch it, just looks away. We see that little look there. That was the difference. Instead of, I mean, how many times they teach Pop Warner players, look the ball in. Hawkins didn't do it. He looked away, incomplete.
Charles Johnson, number 81, is a little wobbly coming off the turf. So a punting situation on 4th down and 3. Mason back to receive the kick from Josh Miller. His first punt, 48 yards. Low snap. High hanger. And a fair catch at the 16-yard line. So McNair and Eddie George will be back on offense when we come back. 7:03 left, third quarter. George, he's off that bicycle now, Doc. 1st and 10, Tennessee. They start this drive on their own 17. Whistles and flags.
To the snap, 27, offense.
By chance,
first down.
did you hear the hard cadence by McNair?
Trying to pull the defense off, but it was Eddie George who actually got a little anxious. You know, he wants to keep that string of, I mean, here's a guy that's been incredibly productive. Started off slow in the year, but then has become incredibly productive over the last 5 or 6 weeks.
Hottest running back in the league. You're looking at him, Eddie George. 1st and 15. 3 wide receivers. a long snap count, and now McNair forced to burn a timeout. Did not like that defensive set he was looking at from Pittsburgh. So McNair will walk over, have a chat with Jeff Fisher. 14-13, Pittsburgh. Jeff Fisher pacing the sidelines. And Doc, you go back to that fake punt to try to go to first down. Pittsburgh couldn't cash in, but now Tennessee is way back in their own territory, and George tries to pick up a couple to the 15. Steed made the stop.
And you wonder if it will have repercussions. He gave the ball to the Steelers at the 50. They couldn't do anything, but then they were able to punt and back up the Oilers, who, you know, the new cadence, as you mentioned, by McNair. Eddie George jumps offside, so it's 1st and 15. Now it's 2nd and 11. You know, offense seemed a little disrupted. They had to burn a timeout, so we'll see if it has any repercussions.
3 wide receivers. Eddie George trying to work it outside, and just good downline pursuit by the guys in black and gold. Let's go back to New York City. NFL Today update with Jim Nance. Jimmy.
All right, thank you, Bowler. It is Flutie time in Buffalo. Watch the Magic Man to Jake Reamersma, and now the Bills are up 10 over New England. And let's go back to you.
Hey, what a story. Doug Flutie.
The magic Flutie continues. You believe Buffalo ahead of New England like that? Yeah, they had a tough day against the Jets last week, but boy, Flutie looks like he's back on track.
3rd down, 12. Little mix-up on the lineup here for Tennessee. McNair will roll out. Looking, breaks out of a tackle, cuts to the far side, and dives to the 25. Flowers chased him down, but this time McNair will not get the first down. Punting situation for Tennessee.
Okay, they got some yardage. I mean, Oliver Gibson, number 98. Why don't you take a look here? Seems to have a pretty good shot. You'll see him to the right of your screen. He gets knocked away. Some pretty good blocking. Then McNair almost loses the ball and then leans upfield, but just can't get enough for the first down.
Oilers need a big punt off the foot of Hendrick. Sends it up high, a high hanger. Hawkins awaits, takes it at the 25. 50-yard kick. Hendrick did what he had to do. Boots a 50-yarder. Dockery in Nashville, and Doc, that decision by Fisher. Now it evens back out thanks to Hendrick's punt of 50 yards.
Neutralized. I mean, the fake punt, and they missed it. It means nothing now. Game's back on even, and this is the man that's going to make or break the Steelers today. Look at those numbers.
216 total yards. Stewart to the sideline, hooks up, and a reception by Charles Johnson. Or check that, that's Hines Ward. Next Sunday is a doubleheader day here on CBS. In the early game, many of you will see the Seattle Seahawks taking on the Cowboys, or the Jaguars pay a visit to these Pittsburgh Steelers. The bus will be there, and in the nightcap, the Oakland Raider defense try to put the brakes on Elway and the Broncos. Check your local listings for NFL doubleheader games in your area.
This division could tighten up. Pittsburgh 6-3, Tennessee 5-4, chasing Jacksonville at 7-2, but today Jacksonville hosts Tampa Bay. Could be a tough game for them.
Bettis, 2 yards to the 38. Henry Ford jumped on his back. Number 92, the right defensive tackle. Here's a fast man, by the way, Doc. I mean, this guy's fast too for his size, but Henry Ford at 295. They clocked him at 4'8" in the 40.
My. Put him at strong safety.
Second down 8, and the wave. Haven't seen this in a while. Wave at Vanderbilt Stadium.
Full house, 41,600 folks.
3 wide receivers, second down 8, and the slant connects. Hines Ward, the rookie from Georgia. 5th catch of the year and a first down for Pittsburgh.
Marcus Robinson's a safety. He's helping out inside with Sidney. He just gets there a little bit late. You see him come into the picture. Ooh, big time hit. And that time Hines Ward, Charles Johnson is out. He is the go-to guy for Pittsburgh, although Hawkins has been as well. So with him out on the sidelines, Hines Ward has to step in and step it up.
Little Cordell Stewart type of guy in college, Alabama, 3rd-round pick. A rookie. Bettis with blockers. Gets pushed from behind, picks up a couple of more to the 47. Eddie Robinson made the tackle.
You know, does Bettis at all remind you of a bowling ball?
Yeah.
You know, talking to him last night, he became animated when he started talking about his bowling game. He has a 190, 195 average. He doesn't have much in the way of rushing today, but he bowled a 300 game a couple of years ago and a 299 game about 6 months ago, and it was in the last frame. He left 1 pin. And that's another one of his passions, bowling. Not quite as much of a passion as football.
Boy, he throws a 20-pound ball. His number's a little bit off. He was injured early. Not a good throw. That's really the only mistake that Cordell Stewart has made today. Did not find Blackwell.
And I'll tell you why. You know what? It was either a hitch and go, and somebody misread it. Blackwell hitched, and then he went. Cordell just thought it was a hitch and threw the ball, so Blackwell was nowhere to be found. Just miscommunication between a young receiver in his 2nd year and a quarterback who was only in his 2nd year as a starter.
4 wide receiver set. Stewart sends 3 to the near side. Blackwell in motion. 3rd down, 5 from the shotgun. On the slant. Was it completed? No, they wave it off. It was fumbled and a big collision, but Doc, I'm not so sure that possession wasn't there.
You know, it's Arnold coming inside without Charles Johnson. They're using a lot of guys. It's hard to say whether he had complete possession. The ball seemed to be moving in his breadbasket, but boy, it was close. And then he just got pounded. Cordell going to that same slant pass, time in and time out. Sooner or later, the Oilers got to figure it out.
Josh Miller on to punt for Pittsburgh, and good look at Derek Mason, number 85, shading the eyes. The sun dipping down here in Nashville. Low snap. Good kick. Takes a bounce at the 5, and the Steelers down it right there. They will put Tennessee on their own 6. 41-yard kick by Miller. Ron Zook, special teams coach for Pittsburgh. Now,
he's almost as animated as Bill Cowher, the head coach. Look at him down there. He loves that play because look how backed up the Oilers are.
Now, field position has not gone Tennessee's way here in the 2nd half. 2:12 to go in the 3rd quarter.
Remember, the Steelers, field position's critical, but their kicking game with Norm Johnson out and Matt George, the rookie, just signed, first NFL game, is not something you might want to count on in the 4th quarter.
Double tight end set. Eddie George trying to break one through. Well, he covered up that football coming through that line to the 16, and a 1st down for Tennessee. Earl Holmes made the tackle, but those are hard running yards by Eddie George.
And watch the lean of the 6'3", 240-pound running back at Ohio State. Holding the ball 2 hands, shoulder pads down, so when you come up as a defender, you can't get a piece of him. All you see are these huge shoulders in a helmet, and guys bounce off.
20 carries, 61 yards. Do the math. That's about 3 yards a carry.
Well below his average. His average is above 4 per carry, 4.1 to be exact.
Wycheck was in motion, and now flags come out.
Ball start, 88 offense prior to the snap. Still 1st down.
Jackie Harris a little anxious.
You know, and if you're Fisher, you got to be a little concerned about your offense making some mistakes. False start on an earlier series by Eddie George. Right there, another penalty pushes you back, especially when you're in the shadow of your own goalpost, where a mistake can be disastrous.
How about penalties on the day? Tennessee with their 8th flag, 82 yards. Doc, Steelers 1 for 5. 1st and 15 from the 11. McNair pedals, three-step drop to the sideline, falls up, and knocked away, incomplete. Willie Davis, the intended receiver, no flag. Let's go to New York for an NFL Today update with Jim Nantz.
All right, Bowler, this has not been a big day of fireworks up in Minnesota, but with Cincinnati driving down 7-3, O'Donnell hit by Randall, Dwayne Rudd will pick it up, and no one will stop him. He'll return it for the touchdown. Just seconds ago, they added a field goal, so 17-3 Vikings. Let's go back to Nashville.
Doc, that's a linebacker's dream.
Minnesota is tough, aren't they? Wow.
Under a minute to go, third quarter. Second down, 15. McNair throws, sideline, incomplete, nearly taken away. That ball was out of the hands of Dyson and nearly run in by Washington.
That's a timing play. You see Steve McNair, he takes 1-2 and spins, fires the ball to his rookie wide receiver. The receiver just doesn't get his head. Take a look here, right? He doesn't get turned around quite in time. Had he just got his head and shoulders around a little sooner, he might have been able to react to make that catch.
Eddie George checks out. Mike Archie comes in for Tennessee. Pittsburgh with a 14-13 lead. No scoring here in the third quarter. McNair with protection. Dyson. Oh, he took a shot. Incomplete. He was laid out. Darren Perry. Wow.
Take a look at Dyson. He's not afraid to go over the middle. Some of the coaches say he's a young guy. He'll figure out that it's dangerous in there. And that time, safeties for the Steelers. Perry just unloaded, and Dyson coughs up the ball.
Henrik now will have to try to boot Tennessee out of trouble. Hawkins. Boy, he has a lot of respect for his foot because he's back inside his own 40. Another blast. Takes it at the 28. Hawkins turns the corner and is blasted out of bounds at midfield. Kevin Long again with another special teams hit. 61 yards, a 22-yard return, and we have a Steeler down.
Sometimes you just can out-kick your coverage, and that punt was just, it just went high and long. Coverage got there a little bit late. That's a good return.
Hendrick was averaging, Doc, 47.5 yards a kick.
Fans sign up today to receive an official Tennessee Oilers.
We'll see if we can get a look at the injury to left. I think it's just the left side of your screen. You saw he wasn't even hit. He just sort of went down. And this is a tough turf here at Vanderbilt Stadium. It's hard, and it was just, that's your guy, by the way, who's down.
That's the rookie, Fuamatu Ma'afala. Had the touchdown in the first half of 26 yards.
And take a look on the left side of your screen, right over here, and you see him just go down. No one touches him. Right there, he gets bumped a little bit and then just goes down more or less on his own. And leaving the field is Fuamatu Ma'afala. Not too bad, right? I'm getting there. I'm getting a little closer.
There.
I'm getting a little closer.
You are there.
And the good news is he appears to be okay. He's limping a little bit. And look at this, 2 receptions today. He's contributed, and he had that, that catch down the sidelines where he tipped down the sidelines, and got that touchdown.
And Doc, that's the danger of turf. The artificial stuff sometimes will jump up and grab your toe. You twist a knee. Bettis off the left side. Back to New York City for an NFL Today update. Jimmy Nantz.
All right, thank you, Craig. Don't give up on New England quite yet. Watch this now. It's Bledsoe to Tony Simmons. Good piece of running, and the Patriots are in for the first time today. We have exactly 10 minutes to go, and the Bills lead by a field goal. Back to the bowler and the Docster.
All right, thanks, Jim. Seconds are ticking down here in the third quarter.
Only Jim Nance can call me the Dockster.
The Dockster?
Thanks, Jim.
That ends the third quarter. The score, Pittsburgh leading 14-13. We'll return after this message from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
In 5 touchdowns to beat Vanderbilt.
And Tennessee with that incredible finish against Arkansas. Bettis picks up a couple down to the 46.
You talk about that game. Jerome Bettis came into the meeting last night. We were talking. He gave us a play-by-play of the game. You know, he has a real passion for football. He says he'll watch it all day long. He said, you won't believe Tennessee. I mean, Arkansas gave him a gift late in the game. They fumbled. Tennessee took advantage. They got a miracle comeback. They win the game. He was incredible. He just knew all about everything that was happening in college football.
Third down 4. 5 wide receivers. Cordell Stewart tucks. And he will be close.
Short, I do believe, very close, but it looked like he might have been just short. What do you do now, my friend?
Doc, I tell you,
it's too long a field goal, obviously. Especially
he had to cross the 40, and they have the nose just behind the 40-yard line.
Well, I thought he was at the end of the play. He seemed to have enough momentum, but something happened, and he just didn't get that last surge. So, I mean, what do you do now? It was Marcus Robinson with a pretty good hit. I think you got to go for it because, look, you don't have a kicker who's going to kick that kind, especially with a new kicker, Matt George. And if you punt it away, maybe you pick up 20 yards or so if it goes in the end zone. So you go for it.
Stewart on the keeper to the 39.
Oilers are pointing somewhere as though there were a penalty.
There was a timeout
Prior to the snap.
before the snap. Pittsburgh had called a timeout. And boy, Jeff Fisher is livid.
I don't know if you'd want to be livid if you were Jeff Fisher. It looked like he picked up the first down. So I'm not so sure why you want to be unhappy.
Timeout, 13:34 to go.
Johnson at the top of your screen, and he's the one that calls the timeout. Take a look right here. See him? Signaling for the timeout. The official sees it, gets it before the play is snapped. So it'll be 4th and inches again for the Steelers.
And Bettis!
Oh, my!
But another flag. Near side at the 40.
Ball start, number 67, offense.
So that timeout call is costly. Cordell got it the first time, Doc. They come back and reset. And
Take a look at this. They try to go laterally here with Bettis. Anytime you do that, penetration happens. You see all the white shirts. The bus doesn't pick it up. And Stevens was the man that would have been called for a penalty anyhow. You're right. The timeout, because it appeared as though Cordell Stewart had picked up the first down on the previous play, but Charles Johnson had called a timeout.
Punting situation now for Pittsburgh. Josh Miller will kick to Derek Mason. Mason back inside his own 10.
You wonder if Cowher tries something funny, no?
Good hanger. And Tennessee will start deep in their own territory at the 9-yard line. We'll take a break. 13:28 to go.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Chevrolet Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. Budweiser. Now is the perfect time to enjoy a fresh, cold, Beechwood-aged Budweiser. And by Energizer Advanced Formula. No battery lasts longer.
Heading down the home stretch, 4th quarter here at Vanderbilt Stadium in Nashville, Tennessee. You get that college atmosphere, don't you, Doc? Because this is the home of the Commodores of Vanderbilt. Quarterback comparison, Stewart, 211 yards, McNair, 124. George with the stiff arm, nice move, and then tackled down at the 12. Well, Doc, Bud Adams made the announcement, owns the Oilers, They will be known as the Tennessee Titans in 1999. And the sign said, hey, Bud, don't change the name. We bought all the Oilers stuff, and that goes down the drain. So the jersey costs you, what, $200, the pants, $32, hard hat. Hey, the car flag. You
there it is.
That car
That's
flag.
right. It's a lot of dough.
But you know, they'll have a new logo,
new stadium,
new colors,
new practice facility.
Little bootleg, McNair, 2nd and 7. Downfield, connects, and on his feet for his, he was popped back about 3 yards. Willie Davis regained his thoughts and then knocked back out of bounds by Lee Flowers.
You know, this is actually his second choice. McNair wanted the tight end. After this bootleg, he wanted the tight end in the flat. See him right there? But instead, he sees he's not open, throws downfield, and Davis takes a pretty good hit from the cornerback there, Carnell Lake. And then, you know, he gathers himself, as you said, and it's first down.
Willie Davis, 5 catches on the day for 77 yards. And that 25-yard touchdown in the second quarter. 1st and 10. Again, rolling out and connecting. Wycheck. That's Jackie Harris, the tight end.
Same play, opposite way. Little fake to hold the linebackers, a bootleg, and this will come right at you. Wycheck just, Jackie Harris, the other tight end, sneaks out in the flat, and Harris is a good receiver and a huge target at 6'4", 250. McNair delivers the ball. It's a safe, high-percentage pass, and the Oilers are moving. And you know, Jackie Harris he's been around a while, 9 years, and 4 with Green Bay, 4 with Tampa. He needs a couple more catches and he'll be at 300. Just 2 more.
That's an elite mark indeed. Again, play action. McNair steps up, looks downfield, double coverage, and nearly intercepted. Darren Perry had a chance to haul it down, but McNair was looking for Kevin Dyson.
Obviously, they know Dyson can go deep. This is not a great throw. And also, he's throwing to a receiver that is double covered. And see how it's underthrown, and Darren Perry can't gather himself to make the interception, but he does a good job scrambling to buy time, and then he just sort of throws on the run off his back foot up in the air. You got to be careful about that. That's how you get him intercepted.
3rd down and 1. George, the lone back. And Eddie George lowers those pads and bangs to the 36-yard line. Kevin Henry was the first Steeler to meet him.
Eddie George just kind of burrows in there. And it was interesting talking to Eddie George yesterday, you know, talking about a road team, the Warriors. 2 years ago, these guys were lame ducks at the empty Astrodome. Last year, they were squatters at the Liberty Bowl. This year, they have a home here for a while, and next year they get their new stadium. But Eddie George was smiling. He said, you know, next year we'll be finally a real NFL team. It was like a little kid, a real NFL franchise.
That's amazing. Wycheck lines up in the slot, now moves to the far side. 1st and 10, McNair to the sideline, and he hooks up again. Willie Davis at midfield. And another first down. Dwayne Washington made the hit.
And if you are Jeff Fisher, you must be happy with the choices that Steve McNair is making at the moment. That was his secondary receiver. He actually looked at another tight end, Michael Rome, and then came to Willie Davis as the 3rd receiver.
14-yard pickup, and Levon Kirkland, the big 270-pound inside linebacker, slow to get up. There's been some hard shots in this game.
You know, talking to Levon last night, I talked to him about the great tradition of linebackers with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And, you know, people sometimes speak of him in the same breath as Jack Lambert. He said, oh, don't do that. You know, Lambert is a Pro Bowl Hall of Fame linebacker. I have a long way to go, but I'm honored that you would even mention that. He's a good one, though.
Oh, you mentioned it earlier, too, Doc, just the tradition of the defense. Of course, the old days of the steel curtain.
Yep. I mean, what a tradition of defense. Think of some of the linebackers they had. Jack Ham, Andy Russell, Kevin Green. I mean, just so many good ones. Greg Lloyd.
1st and 10, ball at midfield. Look over the shoulder there. Bruce Matthews brings his front line Up to the line of scrimmage. 7th play of this drive. It's chewing up some clock under 10 minutes left in the 4th quarter. Play clock down to 3, down to 2. Play action to Eddie George. McNair from the backside. He escapes the rush, and incomplete is the call. That was Michael Roan, who tried to dig it out of the turf. Incomplete.
And it looked like a good throw. Actually, Wycheck, if you watch, is out in the flat. He's not open, so he goes to his secondary receiver. The ball is nicely thrown. It's way out there. Roan appears to make the catch, but no, it touches the turf. He juggles it. Incomplete. Good call.
Stops the clock. 9:42 remaining. 2nd down, 10 for McNair. 2 wideouts to the far side. Finds his man, but short hops it. That was a short hopper. Derek Mason, the intended receiver. Tonight on CBS, it came as a surprise that he blamed a psychiatrist for the 2 murders he committed. The real surprise was that the jury bought it. 60 Minutes reports that it's the 100th episode of Touched by an Angel with guest stars Celine Dion and Winona Judd, followed by the CBS Sunday night movie Monday After the Miracle. That's tonight on CBS. Third down, 10. 3 wide receivers for Tennessee.
Levon Kirkland back in the game.
McNair from the shotgun. Finds his man on the slant. Could be short.
Very close.
Could be short. Mason leaned out. It will depend, though, on the spot. And about a football and a half.
Mason appeared that he had it. The ball is beautifully thrown. Watch the slant inside. He finds a hole in his own. Then instead of just leaning forward, he kind of braces to get hit. Mason does, and they miss the 1st down, even though they're going to measure. It's close.
Give Pittsburgh credit. He could not turn. You know, you want to fall forward.
Yes.
He was forced to kind of fall to the side. And that's a good yard, plus some change.
All
So
right.
4th and 1.5.
Jeff Fisher gambled earlier. Why not go for it? You know, you're talking about too long a field goal. Obviously, you have some strength with Eddie George, and you also have a quarterback who can sweep the ball.
This drive started on their own 9-yard line. 4th and 1 at the 41. Eddie George alone back. It's Eddie George. No. Doc, a chancy call.
I can't argue with that call, though. You know, you want to keep possession of the ball. Yeah, there's 8 minutes and 49 seconds left. But if you punt it away, maybe you get 20 or 25 yards, if indeed it goes into the end zone. So you're saying, hey, my defense can hold these guys. I have confidence in my offense. It didn't work, but Jeff Fisher took his shot.
You can see off that replay, Pittsburgh got the push, and they hold. They lead by 1.
The defensive effort from the big 3, Steed, Kirkland, and Holmes, will do just fine.
So far, that holds true. Cordell Stewart finds Johnson, and a big gain to the 46 of Tennessee. Walker, the left corner, made the tackle. And Doc's 2nd half possessions for Pittsburgh, however, 4 punts. They started at their own 20, then they got it at midfield at their own 25. Another try at midfield, but 4 possessions, 4 punts.
You know, and you can say that's bad offense, or you can say it's good defense. I think the Oilers are playing terrific defense. This isn't an overly talented defensive unit in terms of individual stars. They're just playing with intensity and with a passion.
Coming up on the 8-minute mark of the 4th quarter, Tennessee with another need for a defensive stand. Out of the backfield, Lester leans to the 36. Timmy Lester.
Timmy Lester will never be confused with a ballet dancer. That time, the big fullback comes out and he makes the catch. No one expects him to get the ball, so he just gets it in the flat, and then he has a little trouble with the turf there. But he does get back up and, sort of leans into someone else, which he does so well.
Well, there's been a few times I've had to bring the chains out today and stretch them. Doc, you a fan of the artificial stuff?
Oh, I can't stand it.
You see the toes get stubbed and you catch it just a cleat and you're down.
They just missed by a few inches, but I'm not a big fan of it. And because of how tough it is on your legs, Eddie George was talking about that. He says, boy, after you play on this stuff, your legs just feel like they're beaten up. And same thing at Three Rivers Stadium, not great turf. Of course, both franchises will have new stadiums. The Steelers expecting it by 2001. And, of course, here next year they'll have a 67,000-seat stadium.
You look at Eddie George. Second down inches. Ball on the 36 of Tennessee. Stewart on the keeper. And first down and more at the 34. John Dockery, now you go back. Do you second guess Jeff Fisher? He's taken 2 big chances today. And it's a close ball game, 14-13, and the clock's about ready to hit 7 minutes.
I think it's a calculated risk if you believe you can get a yard with an Eddie George and with a pretty good offensive line. I'm just surprised they didn't run, to that left side behind Bruce Matthews. They actually ran a little bit more up the middle, and Subnowski's one heck of a center, but he's undersized. And the Steeler defense just stuffed him. So I think it was a calculated risk and may prove to be fatal though.
Pittsburgh by 1. Going the other way. They hook up Bettis. Big lane. Oh, he slips inside the 30 at the 28. Bettis, the bus, was doing some nifty footwork, and he lost his footing down at the 28.
It was an incredible play. It looked like it was going to be wide open as he just rolls the wrong way, and Bettis goes out. Watch this. Now Bettis is back over here, makes the catch, and it looks like it's wide open with blockers everywhere. And then he must be hanging around with Lester. He just slips down and, only picks up about 7 or 8 yards. It could have been a huge game.
Jimmy Holmes made the tackle. Second down 4. Bettis put a hand down, and Tennessee stacks him up at the 26. Baron Wortham played his college football at UTEP. Came up to make the stop, and so that brings up third down. And call it 2.
It's an interesting situation here. Bill Cowher is going to have to make some decisions because, we talked earlier, Norm Johnson, the kicker, is out with a calf injury. They signed Matt George 2 days ago. Chapman College, cut in preseason. He may be the man on the line. So if you're Bill Cowher and it's close, what do? I'd say you'd think twice about having Matt George kick.
Big play, both sides of the ball. Third down 2. Play action. Stewart into the backfield. Lester. And they will mark Lester at the 24.
I think he's short.
Joe Bowden pushed him back. This will be another reason to bring the chains out. I think you're right, Doc. Inches short, and that's going to call for Bill Cowher to make a tough call.
And this is a pretty interesting call. Little fake gets Lester out in the flat. He gets turned around, tries to spin, which is a great idea, and then just some good tackling by Joe Bowden, the active middle linebacker for Tennessee, their leading tackler. Bowden's a good one. I mean, he was on the outside. He's really found a home in the middle. That whole linebacking core has settled down with Lonnie Marks on the left side and Joe Bowden, and Eddie Robinson signed earlier in the year on the right side. But it's really Bowden is the guy in the middle that makes it happen. Here's a measurement. It is short. Ooh. I know what I do now if I am Bill Cowher. I know what I do. Here's what I do. I go for it because I'm not so sure a wide-eyed kicker by the name of Matt George, who just arrived, can make this length of a field goal. You're talking about a 43-yard field goal, roughly.
And you have Jerome Bettis in your backfield as you look at Cowher. He's made his decision. 4th down and 1. Power I formation, double tight set. chance to hand the ball off.
What penetration! It looked like it was either Robinson or Kenny Holmes with penetration. You're right. Cordell Stewart trying to get away from the center to hand it off probably to the bus, but watch the penetration inside. Can't even get a handoff. I'm not so sure if that wasn't a little bit of a bootleg.
Gary Walker, Jeff Fisher. McNair back on offense after that big defensive stand and throws incomplete to the near side. Looking for Willie Davis. And Doc, you talk about a sequence. What a stand by Tennessee.
What a stand on 4th down. That's the man who got it done. That's Gary Walker. You see Dawson right there, goes to the left, leaves a whole opening for him to get in. Fisher delighted. Cordell Stewart had no shot to do anything with the ball. Cowher, non-reaction, and that's from one of the most animated coaches in the NFL. And his words ring in my ear. I'll tell you after this play.
There's a look at Walker, who shot the gap untouched. 2nd down, 10, no gain. McNair, Eddie George flushes out of the backfield, and McNair let that ball just fly away. Looked like he got the nose up, and the wind took it right out. Carnell Lake on coverage, the left corner.
It's not over, obviously, for the Steelers. And, you know, Bill Cowher's words just ring in my ears. We met with him last night, and he said he was very civil, but very contained, mind on the game. Obviously, this is a big game. He said to me, well, you've seen us win in the 4th quarter. We'll keep it close, and then I do believe we can walk away with a victory. We've done it many times before. We'll find out if they can do it here today against the Orioles.
Doc, McNair's hot hand is cooled a bit.
Very much so.
16 of 28. A very big 3rd down call. McNair pressured out of the pocket. Throws back across the grain. It's Wycheck to the 40. Darren Perry upended Wycheck, a 31-yard gain on a scramble by McNair.
It's McNair's ability to scramble that gets this done. But look at this. At the end of the play, head over heels, holds on to the ball. Wycheck does.
Oh,
huge play. Critical situation for the Oilers.
31 yards. Wycheck taking a breather. Eddie George, the lone back. 1st and 10. Tennessee on the Pittsburgh 40. Quick hit. And the flat is Michael Roan. And the clock will continue to wind down. A 9-yard pickup. Lee Flowers, the strong safety, was in on the stop.
McNair moving the ball around. He's run hot and cold. He's thrown some balls, some one-hoppers to his receivers, but that throw to Wycheck across his body, and then he just picks Roan on a high percentage throw, gets close to a 1st down, and now he can afford to run the ball a little bit. Hopefully get a 1st down, use up the clock. I'm not saying you want to put it all on Del Greco in the field goal, but you don't want to do anything crazy either.
McNair in trouble, ridden down hard.
Made a mistake there, McNair did.
Orpheus Roy, number 71.
It's easy to see from up here, but McNair had a hole up the middle. And I don't know if you can see it from this angle, but he had a hole between guard and tackle. What he does instead, instinctively, he breaks outside, and that didn't get it done. Had he gone up the middle, he would have made the 1st down and then some. See, right up the middle there, between guard and tackle, plenty of room. Takes it outside, loses some yardage.
Clock winding down to the 2-minute mark. Buckle up. 2 minutes to play in Nashville. Pittsburgh by 1. Welcome back. Craig Bowerjack, John Dockery at a sold-out Vanderbilt Stadium in Nashville, Tennessee. 3rd down 5. Del Greco awaits on the sideline if he's needed, and Doc, it would be a 52-yarder from this point if Tennessee would not gain another yard. 3rd down 5. McNair from the shotgun. 3 wide receivers. They fake the handoff. Eddie George, they hit the slant. Mason inside the 15. Darren Perry, the free safety, made the stop.
McNair must have ice water in his veins. I mean, this is one of the biggest games of his career. Watch him right here. I mean, from the shotgun, a little bit of a fake to Eddie George, and then rolls out and throws this ball with authority over the middle to the wide open Derek Mason. Second-year player out of Michigan State makes the catch, and boy, are the Oilers in good shape. Both teams with 2 timeouts. They can afford to just ease closer now. Not that you want to rely on a field goal, but you certainly don't want to do something silly.
Eddie George dances up the middle, cuts it outside, and stumbles down to the 10-yard line. Oh, a big pickup, Doc, on first down. That will bring a 2nd and 3. Flowers tripped up Eddie George.
And if I'm the Steelers, I call a timeout, which I think they did do, because we are very close. Either he has the first down, he's very close. He's probably, what, 2nd and about 3 or so?
So Pittsburgh burns a timeout. They have 1 remaining, while Tennessee still has 2. And Doc, you go back 2 weeks ago to the game in Pittsburgh. It was a wild affair. Points aplenty on the board. 41-31 was the final. Today, a little different story. A lot of defense in this game.
A lot of defense, and they shut down, both teams basically shut down the running game of the opposing team. Jim Haslett's done a good job, but right now his defense has had a problem on this critical drive.
And coming up next, stay tuned. It's the final round of the Franklin Templeton Shark Shootout. And Greg Norman hosts today's scramble format. That's coming up next on CBS.
What you do here is you run Eddie George, have him hold on to the ball, force Pittsburgh to burn their last time out, try to pick up the first down.
Steelers shift that defensive front. Wycheck in motion. Eddie George up the middle, cuts outside, turns the corner, no, to the 4.
Stays in bounds.
The clock runs. Darren Perry.
First down.
Made the tackle. Under a minute.
Eddie George cutback. He gets stronger in the 4th quarter. Doesn't have blazing speed, but has enough to get outside and wisely stays in bounds. So the Steelers, Steelers are in deep trouble now. I don't know why they're not burning their last time out.
Eddie George, the #1 pick out of Ohio State back in '96, won the Heisman, of course, in '95. Well, the yards have come hard, but this drive, Eddie George has turned it up another level.
And, the Tennessee Oilers are simply saying now we have a terrific field goal kicker in Al Del Greco, and, we're just going to, take our time and kick that field goal. And Fisher is simply telling his quarterback now, look, no mistakes. Just, we need to get this. The ball's right in front, basically in front of the goalpost. I mean, Al Del Greco has been around 15 years, knows how to win games. So, I mean, if you're counting on somebody, you have the kicker. Pittsburgh, of course, doesn't have a kicker, but I mean, this is part of the strategy here. Do nothing silly. There's 18 seconds left. You have 1 timeout. So if indeed you do run a play and maybe you give it to Eddie George and maybe gets in the end zone, if not, call your timeout, win the game on a field goal, maybe.
Well, Eddie George has carried the ball, Doc, 25 times today, and when Eddie George carries the ball 25 or more.
Or just have your quarterback kneel down and just take that timeout and win this game with a field goal. And you talk about the Oilers, and Jeff Fisher this is a turning point for the franchise if they can beat the Steelers twice in a year, and they haven't done those kinds of things since 1993, and they've never been to a Super Bowl. This would put them in a position to run for a playoff spot in the AFC Central. Be a huge win for them.
Al Del Greco 2 of 2 from 46 and 24. Doc, I was going to say that Eddie George, when you carry the ball 25 times or more, it's almost a sure bet Tennessee wins. Are 15-4.
It wasn't all Eddie George. He's done some great things. He came in with 5 100-yard rushing games, but it's all on Al Del Greco now. And, Pittsburgh Steelers aren't a give-up team. They've been known to block field goals. So, they just have to execute there. You kick it, you win. You don't kick it, you lose. It's as simple as that. One play right here.
22-yard field goal. Hendrick will hold at the 12. Del Greco. And now
it makes sense.
Will make Del Greco think about it a bit. The 15-year veteran Bill Cowher, a little mind game, but you got the timeout. Burn it. 6 seconds left.
And it's so critical in the standings in the division. I mean, Tennessee 5-4 coming into the game. Pittsburgh 6-3. They're both chasing Jacksonville at 72. And you know, when you think about Jacksonville, that tough game against Tampa with Warwick Dunn and Mike Allstott, and you know, and they got to be be concerned. I mean, Tampa, you know, last week lost. So this is critical in the division for who heads to the playoffs.
Del Greco from 22 yards. Hold is down. The kick is up. Doc gets a chip shot for a guy like Del Greco. 22 yards. 3 seconds remain. No scoring in this second half until the final 3 seconds. And Del Greco puts Tennessee up 16-14.
And this for Jeff Fisher and this franchise, which they've been nomads on the road for all these years. And this is just a perfect shot. Gets a little bump at the end, but he doesn't care because he knows the Oilers have one of the biggest wins in their franchise history. Certainly in Jeff Fisher. Look at this. Hey, he's just saying it. Chip shot, no problem. It's going through.
Barring a miracle finish by Pittsburgh, Bill Cowher won't like this, but Tennessee will take the season series from Pittsburgh. They win 2 weeks ago by 10, and then today on their home turf get a late field goal by Del Greco.
You know, I have to go back talking to Fisher when the Steelers sort of suggested that game 2 weeks ago in Three Rivers, which Tennessee won, was sort of a fluke. And, you know, Jeff Fisher just smiled and said, we'll find out if that's a fluke. And I go back to what we talked about earlier in the broadcast. He said, the Pittsburgh mystique is gone. There's a new sheriff on the block, and Tennessee is that new sheriff.
Little squib kick. Clock will start when it's touched.
It's the old rugby play.
Little scrum. Pittsburgh, no. Oh, flips it back.
They're running out of guys, though.
Fumble. Touchdown, Tennessee. And it's Michael Roan who recovered in the end zone. What a bizarre finish.
Tennessee, 3 huge wins in a row. Pittsburgh, Tampa, and now again Pittsburgh. And they are tied for second in the AFC Central.
And Doc, let me ask you, Del Greco is down waiting to kick the extra points, or the officials.
Who cares?